Good morning. I fucking hate waking up. Waking up is the worst part because then everything floods through my mind as I have to grab my little pee bucket that I keep in the back of my truck to go to the bathroom when I wake up, and I realize, God, this fucking sucks. Wonder how Chris Simon's doing this morning, getting up, going to his luxury bathroom. The biggest part of all of this is just knowing that I never fucking asked for anything. I wasn't entitled. I worked hard. It was my stuff, my life, my house, my credit, everything I earned in my life. Despite everything I was put through in my fucking life, I have been literally living my entire life controlled, abused, going through domestic violence, abused as a kid, abandoned, thrown away, called names. And despite all of that, I shined. I smiled. I helped other people. I did things in my community to make it better. And every fucking day, knowing that I literally have documents, proof, everything that shows, and I wasn't even given my day in court. I wasn't given an opportunity to present the evidence to a jury. A decision was made by a judge who turned the moment my attorney turned on me too. Why? I just need to know why. Can anybody tell the truth? Because as I go through the evidence, as I go through these documents and I see the forgery, nobody's explained that to me. As I have documentation and full-on conversations with people on phones, their voice, not he said, she said, trying to explain to me things that don't match the records. How the fuck did all of this happen? Can somebody explain and tell the truth? As I was at the 30B30 or 30B6 thing and listened to the deposition and testimony, I wasn't fully engaged because I had an attorney. But as I review things, as I'm going through these records and I just can't help but wonder, what happened, Stephen? What happened? Who paid you? What made you look the other way? Because Arizona law says an escrow agent must adhere to these fiduciary duty things, whether she's a fiduciary or not. Terms and conditions said, here's the layout of what you can expect from us. They did exactly the opposite. I have evidence and proof documents showing that they were the escrow agent who was telling me it was my problems, right? It was my fault. We can't get your house and the solar done because we're waiting for that. Yet later, there was no UCC on the house, so that really wasn't necessary. That you used the fact, Stacy, that I had a judgment show up and you needed to clear the judgment. The judgment wasn't even my name. Never was I married to a Rodney. Never did I live at that address. You clarified it. You clarified that wasn't my debt. But then you were using that, stating that was why. So you played everything to give and stall. And when there was a breach, when they had no buyer the second time, Stacy, your job as the escrow agent, not being on either side, being neutral, would have been to follow through with the policies and procedures of your job. There was no deal. There was no sale. There was no buyer. There was no money. And to say that you're just trying to get me to sign some paperwork, because that's how it works in closing. I just sign. In the meantime, I got Brendan Gray telling Christina Ortega, just hold her off. Monday at the latest. The following Monday. Like, who do you people think you are when the very first email that I have from Christina Ortega, Miss Property Solutions, going through Allison, saying, here's a new escrow open. There's a transfer of solar needed. I hope we get this done in time. That was with 10 days to get the transfer. Here you are, Stacy Hines, signing the 5th assignee, working on trying to get the 5th assignee after the deal's dead. It was breached. Nobody ever came to me and was transparent. Nobody ever told me this is what was going on. 5 different people. And the whole time I thought Christina Ortega was actually the buyer. I thought she was buying my house as an investor, going to flip and clean it up, and then sell it, which was fine with me. But to literally sign me up to make $2,500 profit, never put a dime of earnest money in. You literally hunted me out, secured me in a contract, and then spent your time flipping me so you all could find some fucking profit. My trust in the world is gone. I believe nothing. Why? Because of things like this. Because of things happened my whole fucking life. People don't have the ability to just tell the simple truth. It's mind-blowing. It's fucking mind-blowing. And do you know, in a world where integrity, morals, doing the right thing has been my whole standing, my whole fucking life, do you understand what it's like when you're always put into a world where somebody else bullies and controls you? Because that's what this is. This was all an extortion. I have to pay you money you didn't pay in, Chris Simon? Why would you think you're entitled to that? Is it earnest money I'm going to follow through on my end? Is it a recording that says, Lori, Monday, Tuesday at the latest, if we don't, you get the money. What do you have to lose? Well, what happened on Tuesday? There was no deal. No deal Wednesday. No deal Thursday. Friday morning, I'm talking to Susan Handwork, confirming again. Still no money. In order to close a house, there has to be a transfer of funds. Your buyer backed out. I have the declaration. I have his own testimony. Y'all knew it. I asked you guys to show me funds. Nobody showed me funds. Nobody did anything on their end but manipulate a bunch of paperwork. And I'm going to say, here's my best bet. From looking at the evidence and everything I'm looking at, I don't think Chris Simon was involved. I really don't. I think he was involved later as somebody to back up Brendan Gray, who tried to be the big guy on campus and do something he was completely incapable, like finding the buyer so he could make his profit. And I think Chris Simon's the cleanup guy. That's my own opinion, of course. But it kind of makes sense when none of the documents, nothing makes sense. How do we have backdated documents? How does someone not get involved till November 3rd, but then get issued insurance on my house going back to October 21st? To literally have all of these things in play, but there's no assignments that are audited except for when Brendan Gray signs a DocuSign with Chris Simon's name. Funny thing is, it is impossible for 2 different people to sign the same document at the same time, right down to the same minutes. It's impossible. How does Chris Simon sign a document, but he forgot how to spell his name, Brendan? Today is the day all of this comes out. All of these documents will continue to be uploaded on my archive.org site as I'm putting them together and sending them off to the Attorney General and making my case. Because once I get all of this on there, everybody is going to be aware of it. I'm sending it to every agency. Because you should not be a mortgage banker, a loan officer, when your integrity is willing to do this shady, slimy shit. I am so angry every day that I wake up and realize my life is being held down. That's the mental fuck. That's what keeps you fucked up. Because when you've worked hard your whole life, when you're a problem solver, when you check boxes, when you move and shake, and somebody else is bullying you, controlling you by their actions to hold you down, that's a mental mind fuck. And I'm going to expose all this because every time I look at these documents, more and more comes out. It's kind of hard when you live in your truck. I don't have internet. I don't have a place to lay all my stuff out. It's pretty fucking hot during the day. So trying to manage in between surviving, figuring out where I'm going to shower, where I'm going to eat, how I'm going to fucking make it work, makes getting through all of these things a little hard. Having my mind defragmented all the fucking time out of the mind-blowing fuck that who does these things? Who does these things? And free will, which I believe in, we all have it. There's always a victim, though. When somebody decides to use their free will in evil, there's always somebody that pays the price. Unfortunately, I was the one that paid the price. For you to get a little bit richer, control a little more, feel a little more bullyish, and climb the ranks to show how much of a mastermind and mogul you are. How did you do this fraudulently? It's fraud. It's clear fraud. Please stay tuned and watch this stuff. It's important that we save other people. And if you've ever been screwed over by these people, please reach out. Because enough is enough. It only stops when we say no more. No more. You can't walk in to enrich yourself by bullying, controlling, extorting, threatening somebody else. You can't do that.